travel just has this way of helping you build empathy for people and realize that you are so much more similar to people than you are different. Going all the way across the world and living in a place where I don't speak the language, I still understand the same struggles and I still understand the same joys and the same happinesses. We're so similar.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Heart Inspired, the show dedicated to highlighting individuals in their pursuit of authentic leadership. We peel back the layers to uncover the roadblocks we all face, explore the actions we can take, and how to persevere towards the best version of ourselves. It is my hope that you'll be inspired by their story and gain some insights to help you in your own journey. Dreaming, planning, preparing to set out to do great things. Serve others, travel the world. Starting life together with a great purpose. Stop. March 20th, we know what happened. Austin and Monica's dreams were on hold. Like many others, the timeline was uncertain. Their dreams of serving others changed. Pivoting, a buzzword so many of us have used, was exactly what they did. Doing what was necessary to pay the bills and survive. Austin and Monica continued to dream, eventually creating a whole new plan. When things didn't go as planned, it's not over. Don't throw in the towel. Take stock in what is in front of you and create a new plan. Please welcome my guests today, Austin and Monica Mangelson. How did you two meet? Because you're husband and wife, and you're living your best life right now. So tell us how the whole love story started.
Yes. So, oh man, so we've been married 4.5 years. We're going on 5 this year.
Okay.
We actually met in college. So our college apartments shared a parking lot, essentially. We were also assigned to be in the same church group. And so we saw each other a lot. So a lot of Monica's roommates actually already knew some of my roommates when I met them. So I was assigned to her apartment as part of a church calling. And so I would be over there a lot.
Basically, he just kept showing up in my apartment.
Oh,
And,
Yes.
sounds like a friendly stalker to me.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure at first, but he wore me down a little bit.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I like
Yeah.
that, Monica, playing a little hard to get.
Yeah,
So how
I
long did
yeah.
that go on before you asked her out?
You know what? Honestly, it's kind of all a blur, but I think we were hanging out for about 2.5, maybe 3 months before he asked me out on our
Oh,
first date.
okay.
Okay, there's kind of an embarrassing story if you want to hear it.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Do tell.
I was really interested in Monica. She was not interested in me at all. Um, and she thought I thought that I was just too cool.
I just thought he was all that in a bag of chips, you know. He would come over to my apartment, strutting his stuff, and I'd be like, "Oh, Austin's here again," you know.
But I was so excited to get to know her, and I really wanted to, like, we had already gone on a couple like kind of casual dates and outings with other people, and I wanted to ask her a little bit more seriously, like to go out on a date just with me, kind of be a little bit more exclusive. I had to role play with my roommate at the time because I was so nervous. And we practiced the night before, and I still botched it, and I still messed it up. And somehow she agreed to go out on a date with me. And
To be honest, I didn't really know what was going on during that conversation. And by the end of it, I like he left and I was like asking my roommate, I was like, what just happened? So I always kind of joke that he tricked me into dating him.
communication was not my strong point at the time. I mean, miracles happen, and we ended up
Yeah.
together.
Not only your work story, which we're going to get into next, but your love story also, you tested resilience for sure. So
Yes.
you've been married 4.5 years, so you obviously got to that. So your communication skills, Austin, obviously improved because you were
They
able
did.
to
They did
propose
improve.
and have Monica say yes, correct? So
Yes.
when did all
Yes.
that happen?
So we ended up dating exclusively for about 5 months, and then we were engaged for 5 months.
Which, like, now thinking about it, I'm like, that was crazy. But at the time, I don't know. I was in love.
And
We
it,
were in
it,
love, and
it
it just
actually
seemed right.
somehow at the time it felt like we were taking it slow, but looking back, we're like dating and engaged in less than a year. That's really quick.
That is
Um,
very aggressive timeline.
it sure was. But yeah, so we got married 2018.
Tell us about how you obviously had similar goals in where you were. Tell us how the whole Peace Corps thing came into play.
So we have always loved travel. We, even in the short amount of time that we were dating, we went on international trips together. We went on road trips almost every weekend. We were always trying to integrate travel into our lives. That was a big priority for both of us. And as we were getting close to the end of college, we were kind of feeling like we had been stuck in like kind of mainstream track, I guess, and we wanted to be able to have a gap year and to go and explore. And originally we looked at like teaching English in China and then teaching English in Thailand, and we actually both got accepted into a English teaching program in Thailand. But then the two spots they had available were in different parts of Thailand, and so we would have to live apart for a year, which didn't really fit our goals. And so that same day we found out that we weren't going to be able to teach in Thailand, we were like super bummed. And we walked through like the career fair they had at our school, and they had a Peace Corps booth. And so they like were talking to us about the Peace Corps and all the benefits of it. And it was funny because we were like prepping our family for us to be gone for a year, and then the Peace Corps is like 27 months. And so we
Oh,
took some time to like think about it, and then we went to our family and we're like, I know we said a year, but I think we're gonna go for 27 months, for 2 years. That's kind
so
of how that
that
happened.
happened 2019, decision made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lead
Mm-hmm.
us
Mhm.
up to that most famous month
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
in
Yeah, that
yeah.
was a
2020.
rough month for a lot of people. We were so excited. I still remember the day actually. We got our assignment, the email telling us that we're going to be serving in Mozambique. And so we were prepping it for several months. So we graduated college at the same time, April 2020. From the day that we graduated to the day we were supposed to leave for Mozambique for the Peace Corps was like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, we gave ourselves tons of time to prep for it.
Yeah. So our plan was to go back to my parents for those 2 weeks, kind of pack up what we needed, and then head out. We got an email that our departure day was delayed because of COVID, and nobody knew how long it was going to last. And so we were just expecting it to be maybe a month. And then we get the news that all of the Peace Corps representatives all over the world were being pulled back to the States. And then basically every month we would get an update saying, actually, it's going to be 6 months. Actually, it's probably going to be about a year. And so we just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. Eventually, we realized it wasn't worth waiting any longer because we didn't want our life just to be on hold until someone else said it's time to go
Yeah.
move forward. So yeah, that was a really long waiting period.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize that the Peace Corps is a job. Like you get paid, all your expenses are paid, your housing is taken care of. And so a lot of like we got rid of everything. We sold our housing contract, we sold all of our stuff because it was all going to be taken care of. And we never ever in our wildest dreams could have imagined that something as ginormous as COVID would have ever stopped the Peace Corps, because in our minds it was this huge entity. They had volunteers all over the world. And so I remember the day we got the email saying that they were pulling all of their volunteers back, essentially laying off all of their volunteers, shutting down the entire program. And that's when I realized that this might never ever happen for us. And that
Yeah.
was that was a hard pill to swallow for sure.
Yeah, I bet. And so you've sold everything. You had whatever you needed, the necessities ready to pack and go. 2 weeks, you get this notice. Then you realize, like everybody, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks, it's a month, it's 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then next thing you know, this is some serious shit and we are homebound for
Yeah.
quite some time. A lot of buzzwords are used. Pivot is one of them. And it's almost at nauseum, but I am going to use it here because you did have to pivot and you had to pivot in order to survive. So tell us what that was like. Obviously, very disappointing because not only is the Peace Corps, but travel is also impacted on all levels. So, what happens next? What did you guys end up pivoting to do?
Luckily, Austin's parents were so good to take us in, and I don't think they knew quite what they were signing up for when they agreed to take us in. But we ended up being there for over a year or more.
About
I don't remember, but we both got jobs. Austin was part-time waiting tables at a Mexican restaurant, and we were both working in senior care. And it was so crazy. It was the worst time to join like healthcare work
Oh,
at
yeah.
all, but we were so overworked and underpaid. I remember like several like 15-hour days. I remember I would get home at 1 in the morning and Austin would stay up super, super late to see me. And then we basically say, hey, and then go to bed. And he would get up at 6 a.m. the next day, go to his shift, and we had completely overlapping shifts. We had, it was crazy. It was madness. I think about that time and I don't know how we did it. I don't know how people in the healthcare system do it, who
Yeah.
are continuing to do what we did. But really, it was such a dark time for us. Like we both really struggled. Our mental health like was really hard. Our physical health, we both were like super not taking care of ourselves at all. And then just as a byproduct, our marriage wasn't doing super good. The one good thing that did come out of it is his mom is like my best friend. I love his mom. She's so awesome. And I didn't really know her. I essentially moved into a house full of strangers,
Yeah.
so that was kind of crazy, but she
Yeah.
really kind of took me in.
Like many others, it put a strain on a lot of people's family, lives lost, marriages, children. Mental health really was like top of headlines all the time. What do you think there was within the two of you? Because there had to be some glimmer of light that said, we've gone to hell and back. We're in hell right now. We're going to make it through. What do you think that one little light was? Was it both of you or an outside noise that pushed you through that?
This is where our story is quite a bit different, I think. My light was Monica. This might get a little bit sappy, but I was in this place where, thinking back, a lot of my life had kind of been laid out for me. Like even through college, it was pretty easy for me to decide what to study. It was kind of based off of what my older brother had studied, and basically up until graduation, I didn't have to put a whole lot of thought into what course I wanted my life to go down. After college, I had 2 years to figure it out. So I wasn't going to worry about that till I got back home. I didn't have a direction to pivot to. I didn't really have a plan. My plan was to sit and wait until something or someone changed, and then I could continue my life the way I thought I was supposed to go. Monica, she was not going to settle for what we were settling for. If it wasn't for her, I would probably still be working part time waiting tables and part time in senior care.
Wow.
I really needed her to pull me out of kind of this depression, I guess, that I was in, and encourage me to start looking at other options. And I'll let her share kind of her side of how that happened. But it was kind of a year after we had started working online that I started realizing, like, oh, this is way better than where we were. And
Yeah.
I was just along for the ride for a year until things started to click for me. And so that was a long time of just trusting in Monica and kind of following her and letting her kind of hold my hand and guide me through it.
As you were talking, I was trying to think of like what was the thing that kept me going. And I think for a long time it was the hope that the Peace Corps would open back up. And I think we waited longer. I think I waited longer than I needed to because I kept hoping that I felt so strongly. I was so sure of what we were doing when we were going to the Peace Corps that when all of that fell through, I questioned everything. I questioned all of the decisions I've ever made in my life. I questioned all of my intuition and everything that really, really led me to the Peace Corps.
If I may add one thing real quick, it wasn't just like trusting our intuition, but we're pretty religious people and we had prayed about this for a long time. And we felt like we had received a pretty strong answer from God that we were supposed to apply for the Peace Corps. And then when we were given our assignment in Mozambique, working in HIV and malaria prevention and awareness, we also felt like that was something given to us by God to serve those people there. And we felt like that was an answer to a lot of different prayers that we had been giving. And then for that to fall through, we started to question too, like our relationship with God. And we started to question, like, why did he tell us that that's what we were supposed to pursue if this was going to happen? So there was, like, on top of just the uncertainty of where our life was going, there was also this deeper level of
Anger. I was so angry.
yeah, like a deeper level of questioning God and wondering um like why that would happen to us, why we would get an answer that's going to end up falling through, like why didn't God warn us about that kind of thing.
Yeah, it really shook us to the core. Like everything that we have built our lives on and our beliefs on and everything it just seemed to crumble. Like it just seemed like it wasn't there.
There were very few things that in our life that we had felt so strongly about that was the right thing that we were supposed to do, and the Peace Corps is one of them.
So I held on to that for a long time, just thinking that, somehow it's going to work out and that was going to happen. But, when they pulled back all their volunteers, I think was a big moment where I was like, wait, this might this might not actually happen, like,
Yeah.
which had never really even occurred to me before that moment. And so there was a while I was just lost. I just didn't even know. We talked about maybe going to grad school, but then they were all online. I tried online college before and it was terrible. And so I was like just trying to figure out what to do. Like I'm just not a person who's going to sit still and let life happen to me. It's always kind of been that way. But I think one really big thing that happened to us is we took a COVID road trip. We both were able to get a week off of work, and I don't actually know how we were able to make that happen, but we took a road trip. We drove all the way up to Seattle and we drove Highway 1 all the way down to San Diego. And that's a long way, like a lot of ground to cover in a week, but it was so refreshing, and I finally felt like myself that I hadn't felt in such a long time, and
Yeah.
I had lost that piece of myself. So being able to take the road trip, and we camped along the beaches and lots of crazy stuff happened on that trip. But from that moment, I knew that I had to hold on to that piece of myself that I found again and never let her go. And
Yeah.
so that's when I started looking for other options.
So you said you lived in your in-laws or your parents' house, right, Austin, for a year,
Yes.
waiting tables, doing medical, all of that. What was the boom? This is the next place where we're going to put up our post and start making plans. When did that happen for you?
To kind of help me cope after that road trip, like going back to reality, I started Pinterest shopping what my dream life would be. So like in any spare moment, I built a secret Pinterest board, and I started pinning all these blog posts and reading all these things and attending all these webinars about how people were able to work online and travel, which is something I had never even heard of before. I didn't even know people were doing that. So I like planned all these webinars, and then I found this course that taught us how to be virtual assistants. And I watched the webinar and I planned out my whole little thing. I was like, I have to convince Austin. And it was a little bit tricky because I knew he was still grieving and I wanted to be really sensitive to that. But I remember sitting in bed one night when we both miraculously had the evening off. And so we were sitting in bed together. And I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna watch this free training. Do you want to watch it with me? And he was like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll just listen to it and like sit here. And it was all about how like this webinar to get people into this course so that they could work online and travel the world. And I don't know exactly what happened, but somehow I managed to convince him to join this course with me and to start rebuilding our lives.
Wow, that's incredible. The course was free or did you have to pay?
So there was one video that was released for free. It was like the lead capture video.
Okay.
But then we ended up paying. We're actually talking about this today. We don't remember how much it cost. I think it was around $1,000. So yeah, we purchased that course, and then it was a course teaching us how to become virtual assistants.
We purchased it and then we both quit all of our jobs and we're like, this is it, we're gonna make it work. We can't keep doing this anymore. So we're not virtual assistants anymore. So we got our first client just 2 months after we quit our job, which was amazing, the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And then we got clients pretty quickly, but then we realized that we didn't want to be working in people's businesses anymore. We wanted to be working on our own business. So we pivoted into starting a web design business, and we offered web design. And we still do offer web design, but in that time when we were first trying to figure things out, we were starting to travel the U.S. and we stayed with friends and family, and we helped, like, in exchange for doing house projects, they would give us free rent. So it totally worked out. It was really fun, and we kind of started traveling. Austin wasn't really sure about this being a lifestyle yet, traveling. I think we both kind of thought maybe the Peace Corps would still happen or maybe something else would happen. But as we started gaining momentum, we both realized that we were having a ton of fun and we were able to create something bigger than us and work on something together, creating something together. And that really, really helped us kind of heal our marriage and heal ourselves and put ourselves back together.
Even your business has taken some twists and turns. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about what your business is today and how you help people. Because you mentioned VA, you're not doing that. You mentioned web design. Now, did either one of you in college, or did you take courses, or are you naturally talented to do graphic designing and web designing?
Neither one of us did anything related to that in college. I actually have my degree in exercise physiology, and
Okay.
Monica's degree is in international studies.
Okay.
So graphic design, everything virtual assistant related was new to us when we took that course. So we did the VA course for about a year and a half, about a year. And then one of the things that we learned in that course was graphic design. When we had this feeling that we wanted to do something different, it was kind of like instead of one-off projects and kind of a freelance style of work, we wanted to, like Monica said, we wanted to build a larger business, something more than just one-off projects here and there, but we wanted to grow something. So we sat down and we made a list of all the things, the virtual assistant tasks that we were doing, all of the things that we enjoyed. So separately, we made our list, and then we came together and we compared our lists. And one thing that was on both of our lists was graphic and web design. And so very similar to the way we left our other jobs and jumped into VA, we left the VA thing and just jumped right into web design. And we immersed ourselves as much as we could into different courses, learning about how to create websites and how to lay them out and the strategy behind what goes where. And then we also got clients fairly quickly in that industry, which we were very blessed to have that happen. We held on to a couple of VA clients while we were making that transition. And then we pivoted again. And this was kind of going back to what were originally drawn to. When we started our business, we were really interested in helping people travel. And we had created this Instagram account where we would post different things about where we were in Guatemala and kind of give some history of the cities and the buildings and talk about it. And we didn't really have any clue what we were doing. We just knew we wanted to inspire people to travel more. And so our most recent pivot has been towards a coaching business where we kind of have two main focuses. One of them is to inspire people to travel and help them build a business that allows them to travel. It's been incredibly impactful for us to travel the world and see the world from different people's points of view. We think there's a lot of healing that the world can experience through traveling more. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's one focus of our business. And then the other focus is entrepreneurship, because that's what got us out of that dark time when we were grieving the Peace Corps. And starting up our own business is what really started to change things for our relationship and for our lives, our personal development. And so that's the other prong of our business purpose, is to help other people create a business of their own, give them the steps that they need, the strategy they need, and also kind of help them work through any mindset blocks
Mm-hmm.
to starting an online business so that they can feel empowered, so that they can start something that brings purpose to their life and brings meaning to their life. And then our perfect person is someone who wants to combine the two and start an online business so that they can travel.
So tell the audience where we're communicating with you now. You are in,
Yeah, we're currently in Vietnam.
and when we first met, you were in Cambodia, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you are just all over the place, which is you're living the dream and living exactly with what you want to help others do. What's it been like, and how long do you normally stay in each of these countries that you're visiting?
We like to travel slower because that really helps us get to know a place better and make friends. And I mean, we, as Austin was saying, like we really like to let each place teach us a lesson. So we typically stay anywhere from a month to 3 or 4 months in one place at a time before moving on. And it has been so incredibly life changing. Every single place we have been has left its mark on us. And we have learned and grown and evolved as people everywhere we go. And it's just such a like I look back at who I was even just a year ago, and I'm totally different in all the
Yeah,
best ways. And it just travel just has this way of helping you build empathy for people and realize that you are so much more similar to people than you are different.
yeah,
And that's so opposite of the messaging we're always getting on social
yep.
media or, just the news channels. Going all the way across the world and living in a place where I don't speak the language, I still understand the same struggles and I still understand the same joys and the same happinesses. We're so, so, so similar. And it's just, I don't know, it's an amazing experience.
Well, you're beaming from ear to ear, so I would say that it has a tremendous positive impact on you. And Austin, how has it been for you?
I've loved it. It was something that kind of took me a while to, I don't know, I think for some reason there was some resistance to want to travel basically nonstop. What I really, really want is community around me. I really thrive when I'm around people who I'm comfortable with and know, and I have friends in these places. And so for a while, I think the resistance was, I don't want to be traveling to all these places and not know anybody. And so I was kind of put off by that idea. And I kind of wanted to go on one-off trips every now and again. How we've prioritized what we do though when we travel is we really emphasize getting to know the people here. Sometimes it's locals who live in the country, who were born and raised here. Sometimes it's other travelers and people who are also only here for a couple weeks or a couple months. But every time we do that, like we will find people that we can connect with. We're meeting people from literally all over the world, from countless backgrounds and belief systems and childhoods and the way they grew up. And so we learn so much more about the world around us, the world that we live in. But then we basically grow our family all over the world. So we know people
Yeah.
who we could live with and stay with in Guatemala and in Thailand and here in Vietnam and in Peru and Paraguay. And we now have family scattered across the globe. And so I still have that community, and my family's only growing. My friendships are only growing.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, like before we started, I didn't really understand what that was going to be like.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to know you can travel however you want to travel. And for me, prioritizing relationships in the travel has been what I needed, and definitely worth the focus.
So you bring up a very good point. Planting roots. Are you planning on having that definitive home that you call home and be able to go back and forth in months? Because right now, home is where you are now, but what does that look like in a couple of months from now or a year from now for you?
I think the beautiful thing is that we don't know,
It's
and
it's
Okay,
always evolving.
fair
We have this
enough.
conversation a lot, but it's
yeah,
always changing.
I do think eventually someday we will have kind of more of a home base, but I
Hmm.
think travel is just too big a part of who we are to really settle down in more of a traditional sense. But we've learned, if there's one thing we learned from 2020, it's never to make plans. So we'll just see.
That's really awesome. So, as we wrap it up, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to let the audience know where they can reach you and what would be your ideal client that you're looking for that you serve today.
We're pretty easy to find on Instagram or on just our website. It's Austin and Monica is our handle, or austinandmonica.com. We also have a podcast where we talk about all things travel and work, and that's the Profitable Nomad Couple. And yeah, I mean, we love collaborating with people. So, and we love helping other people travel. So if there's anybody who's listening to this and they're like, man, I want to work online and travel, please reach out to us. We would love to help you.
We'll
So
have all your information in the show notes for sure. And last question, a goal that you have for the next 60 days. We'll start with you, Austin.
One big goal that we have is we're actually hiring in our business. We are hiring a marketing professional strategist. And so within the next week or so, our plan is to have a couple prospects that we'll interview and then have them fully onboarded and working in our business within the next probably 1 or 2 months.
Awesome.
something I've been working on a lot lately is just, I guess, my confidence. So I don't
Mm.
know that this is like a really concrete goal, like that I can say, I don't know that I've accomplished it or not. But something I've been working on a lot is just like kind of projecting like where I want my life to go, and then always asking myself in every moment, like, what would the best version of Monica do in this moment? And so I guess in the next 60 days, I want to be 60 days closer to being the best version of Monica.
That's really awesome. And you take every day as a gift, every day is a win to celebrate. And, I have no doubt you'll get there. Well, this has been really awesome. Your story is incredible that you're just doing what you missioned out to do and living your best life right now. So I wish you all the best to you, both Monica and Austin. Love the fact that you've repaired a lot of relationship and business and your goals and everything else. We'll make sure that all of your contact information is in the show notes. And so when do you hit the States? When do you come back?
T minus 5 days.
Yeah, we're actually heading back for a little bit here in a couple days.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, best of luck to you. Happy and safe travels. And we'll definitely have to stay in touch and watch your journey. I would love to see kind of like the Carmen San Diego map. Where are Monica and Austin next? You know, maybe that should be something, you know, a little map with little push pins as to where you are next.
You.
But,
Yes, we'd love to stay in touch. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Yes,
yeah, this
all
was
the best
so
to you.
great.
Thank you again for listening. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode of the Heart Inspired podcast. Until then, I'm your host, Michelle Delgado. I welcome you to support the show by rating us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. To learn more about Heart Metrics Consulting, book a strategy call by visiting the website at heartmetrics.com.